If you're going to implement a sophisticated piece of software onto your campus, you're going to need the help of your IT staff. In this first part of our in-depth investigation, I asked Jack how he approached this topic at both Oklahoma and Loyola Marymount. I started with the simple question of how did he decide if he was going to host on-site or with Terra Dotta?
We host on the Terra Dotta servers, and that was something that I did at the University of Oklahoma as well. So I've done it, implemented it twice, and used that technique both times. To editorialize a touch there, we went with hosting on the Terra Dotta servers at the University of Oklahoma, primarily because the University of Oklahoma was implementing Banner, the student record software system, at the time with a lot of political angst. So the idea of asking them to host something else just didn't make any political sense. So we said, tell you what, we'll have Terra Dotta host it. It's comparatively not super expensive, and they were more than happy with it. Then I saw how easy it was when updates needed to happen, when there were glitches or problems, that Terra Dotta just handled it in a client and vendor relationship. And I realized there was actually great value to having it hosted on the Terra Dotta servers. So when I implemented it here, it was not even a question. I just said, this is the way we need to go about it, and our IT office was more than happy with it.
I then asked Jack how involved an administrator would need to get their IT office into this overall process.
In the implementation phase, they are directly involved, and so there was a project manager within IT. They spearheaded the pieces that needed to be spearheaded, and they kind of spoke the IT language with the people at Terra Dotta that needed to be spoken in order to implement. And really, I break up the implementation phase from the IT side of things into 3 different chunks. The secure campus login, that's a big conversation. How are we going to do that? How are we going to present that? And mechanically, how we make that work. The Banner integration, pulling the appropriate fields from Banner, making sure that they're populating and updating, things like that. And then the final piece, which is the integration with the website and how it visually looks, so, and how seamless or non-seamless an institution might want that to go. IT was involved in certainly the first 2 quite extensively. The third one was a combination of both IT and also University Communications, which handles our website presence. And their primary piece wasn't even, it was more a matter of saying yay or nay on the visuals. They didn't have to do the retooling because we contracted that with Terra Dotta. So we said, Terra Dotta, we want it to look seamless when we go from our main website over into the Terra Dotta side. Unless you look at the URL, you wouldn't know. And that's what university branding wanted as well. So in the initial implementation phase, they were involved quite heavily. They were incredibly pleased that we were doing all the content development. And in many ways, I think they didn't necessarily understand that not only did we need to do it from a labor standpoint because they couldn't, we had to do it because study abroad processes and procedures are incredibly unique and specific, and it was just easier for us to do it. And the product is user-friendly enough that people with degrees in French and psychology, as we have here in the office, can handle it. There was a basic kind of handoff day where they said, all right, it's going live, and at midnight tonight, it's yours. And so at that point, it's only been involved in occasional little tweaks here and there, mild communications if something didn't quite work, or if there was a server issue or something like that, but minimally, maybe, I'm not kidding you, once every 6 months.
I had previously mentioned that Jack had also implemented Terra Dotta software at the University of Oklahoma. Now his experiences here were slightly different due to other constraints that were being placed on their IT office.
Assuming that an institution has in-house IT, as most do, so as I mentioned earlier, the University of Oklahoma was implementing Banner, and they were in the midst of it, and they were taking out an old homegrown system of student records management that had been band-aided and band-aided and band-aided until it could no longer be band-aided. And basically, they had to get rid of it. And so they were in the throes of implementing Banner at a large, creaky public institution with 3 campuses and 30,000 undergraduate students, thousands of employees. It was incredibly complicated. Study abroad is anomalous inherently to the university, the way in which any university or college functions. So whenever I went into any kind of negotiation with an office, you have to go in understanding that you are swimming up someone else's stream. So when I went in and I said, studio abroad, it's a product you just unpack, and I kind of used the metaphor of almost, and this gives you an idea of my own technological background, of plugging in a VCR. It's just plug in, cord, 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 and then you can press play. That's obviously a little simplistic, but in my mind, that's the way it works. And when we started talking about Banner integration at that time, there was serious pushback. And I think primarily because they just didn't have the emotional or psychological space to do one more thing with Banner at that time. So we backed way off of IT at OU. So of those 3 categories I talked about, the secure campus login, the Banner integration, and the web integration. The web integration was handled by a different office at OU, just like here at LMU, a web communications office, and they were more than happy to work with us. The Banner piece at OU, we backed off of. So this is one of the nice pieces of this product, is that you can actually kind of unfold the flower as much as you're able and ready to at that time. So what we did was we negotiated a very small amount of time with the IT office and just said, secure campus login. Can you help us with that? We recognize that our data is going to be a little bit incongruous with the main Banner data, but let's come back and let's do Banner integration maybe in 2 years. Because having an online system where you can do risk management, even if students are entering their own data, is better than a stack of paper applications. So we backed off of that. Now, LMU, completely different story. When we went to the IT office, initially, their great fear was we wanted them to build a software package. And when we said, actually no, it's a Lego kit. You just have to open it up, and the instructions are there, and it's all ready to roll. It's out of the box. They were incredibly pleased. And so there was no pushback at all, even on the Banner integration. LMU's been using Banner for some time. It was not a controversial discussion. The conversation with the registrar's office about what fields would be appropriate. We requested a series of fields and had conversations about which ones we wanted and why. And there were conversations with the registrar's office about things like, well, why does a study abroad office need to know X? And as long as I had a reasonable and rational idea for why I needed race and ethnicity, for example, for all kinds of data purposes that have nothing to do with risk management, but have things to do with understanding the demographics of our students that are going abroad in comparison with our campus at large, conversation was done. It was very easy.